Okay, I'm just now opening up holes in the base of that tube so that the air can flow through it, and I think this is the best way of doing it because it doesn't, if I was using a drill it would be pretty risky. Should have done this before I started. Don't you love a Dremel? So what's exciting about the boat at this point is that I'm just about to get the final plates on, sound deadening plates, whatever you want to call them. Just got to finish off the ends. I finished a significant amount of the sail, and the next thing that I'll be doing will be spraying it with etch, grey etch, same as this. And this particular look is going to disappear. So that what I find lovely about this stage is the way it changes before your eyes all the time. And the next thing to do will be to run a midway line right around the boat for the red and for the black. And I've been working on the decals for the top, and I'm really loving this. It's all going to come together quite quickly now. This has been a real bugger. It's been really slow, but believe me, I'm going to enjoy every bit of looking at this boat. And it's going to get a fair few nice comments about it. I will, however, like I said, I'm going to make sure I bring a picture of the boat with me in real life so people can look at it and say, oh, really? They look like that. Show you a little trick. When you work on sides like this, sometimes they don't line up, and it's a bit of a problem of how you're going to fix it. I've also got a screw in there which holds the whole back piece on. And if I peel this off, you'll see that I'm using longer pieces here, and I've put a nice hole into there, so that's literally going to disappear. And I'm just going to do it this way, all the way through there, and you won't notice the fact that that doesn't line up with that. Well, you will, because you've seen it, and I don't really care. See ya. So I'm having to remake my hatches because, would you believe, I lost them. I made them out of plastic before, but I decided to make them out of aluminium this time, just because I can easily bend this into the contour of the hull. As you can see, this is how I've marked them out, and then basically scratch these appropriate marks into the surface. That's basically it. It's not wonderful, but it's actually pretty good, and I need to just trim this now and make it fit nicely. Once it's painted and it's nicely fitting onto the hull, which this hatch does, I'm then going to layer over the top all of these nice white impressions, and it's going to be really nice. I think that's for helicopter landings. I'm not particularly sure, but yeah, that's going to make it look very, very schmick. Okay, this is a great moment. I'd like to remember this. It's going to vanish very, very soon when I spray it with etch. It's a very nice sight, having all of those done. So right now I'm using some acetone and some, what are these called, scrub and wipe, wet ones or something or another, but acetone is very good at getting rid of the leftover epoxy. Doesn't get it all. My focus is going to be above the waterline, less so below. Slack, isn't it? So the question is, should I be using a spray gun for this? And the answer, I think, is no. Because however good you are with a brush, and I'm just slopping the paint on here because I need to get the coverage that I need. I think in most cases a spray gun makes things too smooth, and if anything it will show up more of the inaccuracies of the surface. I think a brush is best because that's in fact what they use most of the time. And you know, on the bottom of the hull we've got all sorts of shit down here, and it's been cleaned in this case, but it's still never going to be perfect. Well, that's a lot of rubbish I just shared with the world. Okay, this is very interesting. This is how it often happens. I've put up to, well, 3 solid coats and 1 part coat onto that to get it to cover all of the grey underneath, and it's been very difficult to do it. This is the very first coat of the black, and it's just covering beautifully straight away. Funny about that. This has had up to 4 coats on it now. And that means that this paint is now thick enough for me to easily butt up against it with the black. Whoops. Now I've got this slot in the back of the sail here, and this is for an exhaust. And this is not the way it's really going to be, but I'm going to use some fly wire on the inside of that, and then put a decal on the front which will smooth that up. These bow ones, here we go, this goes on the inside, the red and the green, and I'm also then going to use a decal to make that a nice smooth finish. Okay, here are my decals. I've printed them out onto white paper, and I'm in the process of cutting them out and putting them onto the boat. You can buy these from different places. I'll make a note of where I bought these from in Australia. I've played around with these sizes, just printing them onto ordinary white and making sure that they're the right sizes. They're all the right sizes now, and I've printed them onto this high quality decal paper, and here we go. Delicate stuff. All this does is even it up, and you can see straight away that it's nicely even. I'm going to paint over the black with black. Okay, this is the hatch. I guess it's a direction pattern for helicopters. I'm not particularly sure, but this is going to be transformative. I actually made a hatch that sits under here, but it's completely unnecessary almost. Alright, so they're nicely glued on now, and I come to the next stage, which is getting some of the black. I'm just going to run over the black from the printer, because it can't possibly, oops, have to say you can get away with murder at this stage, just by picking out some things which really take the eye. And I know that when I put where is it? And I know that when I put the matte varnish over this, it's going to take out all the shiny, less shiny parts, and it's going to make it nice and flat right throughout. but when you look at the bow, you don't tend to look at any dings, you tend to look at those letters. You look at the bow, you look at the sail here, you just catch, your eye catches the various hatches, and that looks pretty much like the real thing. I'm very happy with that. And all the little odds and sods will be sorted out when I give this a coat shortly, but that's terrific. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now we need to seal our decals. I'm using flat varnish. This is going to go over the whole boat. You want to panic when you first do this. Bright red, blue I mean. But I want to get that over the whole decal.